Hey, welcome. Today, we are going to dive into one of the most powerful and, honestly, most overlooked forces that shapes our entire reality. And that force is your attention. Think of it like the invisible architect of your experience. We're about to explore its blueprint, so let's get right into it.
But first, let me ask you something. Where's your attention right now? Seriously, is it on my voice, maybe the words on the screen, or is it a thought that just popped in about what you need to do later? Just take a second and notice. Because that simple act of noticing, it actually reveals the most fundamental mechanism of how you operate.
And that act of noticing brings us to the core idea for today. This phrase right here. It's not just a nice, catchy quote. It's basically a law of physics for your internal world. Whatever you place your focus on, your entire system, your thoughts, your feelings, your energy, it literally begins to organize itself around that one thing.
Now, in the framework we're looking at, this has a name. It's called the law of orientation. And as law number 6, it's considered the master key to the whole system. It means the direction of your attention isn't just passive. It's an active, creative force that is constantly, moment by moment, building your reality.
So what's really fascinating here is that this law doesn't just exist on its own in a vacuum. Nope. It's one piece of a much bigger, much more complete system that explains how we, as human beings, actually function.
And that system is called human architecture. Now, let's be super clear about this. It is not a philosophy. It's not a belief system you have to buy into. Think of it as a structural map, a universal blueprint that applies to every single one of us, explaining the mechanics of our experience.
And this whole architecture, this map of being human, it turns out it's governed by just 7 fundamental laws. And our focus today, the law of orientation, is just one of them. So here they are, all 7. They describe these universal principles. Like the law of state says your internal state totally shapes how you see the world. And the law of load says every system has a breaking point. But we're zeroing in on law 6, orientation, for a really good reason. It's the one you have the most direct control over. It's the steering wheel for the entire system.
And this is a really critical point. These laws are like gravity. They're structural, not moral. They just are. They operate without any judgment. And understanding that can be a huge relief, right? It lets you look at the patterns in your life not with blame, but through a much clearer architectural lens.
So if our attention is constantly organizing our system, where exactly is this all happening? Well, the human architecture model shows that it all plays out across 3 very distinct but interconnected layers of our reality.
And these aren't just metaphors, you know. These are the actual, real-deal structures of our experience. They're universal, everyone has them, they're always on, and they all influence each other. So, let's break them down. First up, you've got the baseline within. This is your internal world. It's how your body feels, how you make sense of things, that feeling of inner clarity or not. Your attention here directly shapes your internal state.
Second, there's the baseline between. This is your relational world. It's about that invisible, physiological dance that happens whenever you're with other people. Where your attention goes in a conversation totally organizes how you experience connection or disconnection.
And third, we have the baseline around. This one is your environment, your physical space, the deadlines at work, the noise, the calm. Where your attention lands in your environment determines whether your system feels supported or totally strained.
Okay, so we have these 3 layers, all being organized by where we put our attention. But to what end? What's the point of all this? What's the goal of this entire system? Well, the answer is a state called coherence.
And coherence is actually really simple to understand. It's the structural alignment of those 3 layers we just talked about. It's when your internal world, your relationships, and your environment are all working together, all in sync. It's when the whole system is in harmony. And the difference is profound. I mean, just look at this. When you're in a state of coherence, you've got clarity, you feel steady, you perceive things accurately. But when that system gets fractured, when it's incoherent, everything shifts to distortion, reactivity, and you start running on these stressful compensatory patterns just to get through the day. And it is so important to remember this. Coherence isn't just a good mood. It's not a fleeting feeling that comes and goes. It's a measurable, structural condition. It's an architectural state of stability and integrity in your system.
So this brings us to the most practical part of all. If coherence is the goal, how in the world do we get there?
How do we use this power of orientation, our attention, to actually create that alignment?
Well, there's a process for it. It's called the baseline method. So if human architecture is the map, then this method is the how-to guide. It's the practical, hands-on application for intentionally using your attention to bring your entire system back into coherence.
And it works in 3 pretty simple steps. First, you reset your internal system. And notice, this is where you explicitly recalibrate your attention. Second, you realign your relationships and your environment to support that new state. And third, you recover, which is all about rebuilding your capacity so you can maintain that coherence even when life gets messy.
And that brings us full circle, right back to our foundational law. Reset, realign, recover. This whole process is powered by orientation. It is the conscious, intentional directing of your attention that allows your system to literally reorganize itself back into a state of coherence.
So I'll leave you with this thought. In every single moment, your attention is laying down the blueprints for your internal state, for your relationships, and for your life. The only real question is, what are you choosing to build?